Cultural translation. The most difficulty in translation studies has been the dilemma between the culture of source language and culture of the target language. I mean, the translator should recognize the type of text to be translated. Recognizing the type of text, the translator will be able to tackle the cultures once he or she decides the type. Well, in this presentation, I'm going to show you some translation of literary text from English. And in order to explain better, we have to make two questions. The first one is, will the translation be accepted by the new community of readers? And the other one is, the relation between culture and translation is really important. So, in order to start, we have to get in count that the domain of translation studies could be expanded beyond the limits of language to include the types of text and culture of the source target language. Translation theories, however, showed interest in cultural aspects of translation as early as 19th century, probably earlier. I think there are two maxims for translation. The one requires that the foreign author be brought over to us so that we can look upon with him around. The other one is that we cross over the foreign and find ourselves inside its circumstance, its modes of speech, its uniqueness. So after that, we can define that the relation between translation and culture. A translator is a cultural mediator who may move from the source culture to the target culture, chosen as much as she thinks appropriate to serve the aim of translation. Why we translate from the language A into B to enrich linguistically and culturally language B. The translator aims at preserving as much as possible the source culture. Translation and integration. In the early stage of translation theory, according to Tur, translation was defined as replacing a text in one language by another in a different language, which the two texts having approximately the same meaning. The main emphasis was on the linguistic and semantic aspect of translation, whether in the process of the product. The meaning in translation has always been problematic. One meaning is intended, it's semantic or pragmatic socially. The translator has to be careful not to make the characters in the translation too native and behave exactly as the members of the target language do. For example, the translator has probably used too much familiarization as his characters have gone native. And after that, as I told you before, familiarization is the translation moves casually between the two extremes of foreignation and familiarization and grows for a happy medium. And to end, we have that culture should be considered as a vital component of translation. Lack of adequate knowledge of culture causes difficulty in comprehending a text full of cultural reference as shown. The main of translation is to enrich the target language both linguistically and culturally. Every language is couched in its culture, and it's a doubtful if a language can be replaced by another without some of the source culture. A translator acts as a mediator between the source culture and the target language, and a translator systematizes the process of cross-cultural translation. There are two main approaches to perform the task of translation, and the first one is that familiarization, that means the author is brought to the reader, and the second one is foreignization, that means the reader is brought to the author. Well, and finally we have the limits to the approaches. is a translation which carries with too many foreign elements may never become integrated into new culture. And the other one is integration, that is the surest proof of a successful translation. Rejection means that a translation has failed.